I just finished the letter to Aunt Helen and Uncle Ross. Oh, and I want to write the cousins, Jimmy and Alice, and thank them, too.
I don't know how you do it, Wally. You make it seem so easy. Here, I brought down some old letters to try to find some help there, but it just didn't do any good.
Why not? You read me some of those letters. I think they were pretty sharp.
But there's a difference between reading letters and writing them. Walter, how do you write such good social letters?
Well, Nora, it's a talent. Some people have it, and some don't.
That's not true, Walter Barlow. And you're going to sit down right now and tell me the secret.
Well, all right. Let's look at this stack.
What are you doing?
There. You see, Nora, different letters have different purposes. They do all kinds of things. There are letters of invitations, and some of them are formal ones. Now, let's see. You don't seem to have one here, but I got one in the mail just today. See? You'll notice it's written in the third person. And down here they note formal. Well, I'll write a formal answer that starts out like this. Mr. Walter Barlow accepts with pleasure. And so on, you know. And of course I'll dress formally for the occasion when I go. You know, it's only when the party's formal that the invitation is written in the third person. Now take an informal invitation like this one. You don't have to write an answer to this kind of invitation. Chances are you're phoned to accept this one. Well, that's one general purpose of some social letters. Giving invitations, accepting invitations, sending regrets that you can't be present. Now, here's a group of letters with another purpose. These are letters of thanks. Now, tell me, Nora, which of these did you really enjoy the most?
Here, this one from Alice made me feel good. I could tell just by reading it that she really liked the present I sent her. Here, listen to this. Thanks a million for sending me the delightful book for my birthday. How did you know I've been trying to borrow that very book for weeks? This is a thank you letter for a gift. The one I want to write is a thank you letter for a visit.
Right, but these are both thank you letters. Now, these letters have still another purpose. They're friendly letters. Letters that give news or keep up a friendship. Now, let's see. I was shopping yesterday, and I picked out the smartest blouse. But then, gee, you know, as you read that, you could just hear Margaret's voice, just as if she were telling you. Let's see. Oh, I was shopping yesterday.
And I picked out the smartest blouse. But then something terrible happened. I couldn't find my change purse. I was so embarrassed and frightened, too. Well, I had left it at home. Oh, what an experience. No blouse.
Now, that's a pretty good example of the sort of thing that makes a letter a lot of fun. And then there's another type of social letter. It's a letter of sympathy. We don't have one here, but I got a lot of them when I had pneumonia. They were all informal and very friendly, and they certainly made me feel better. There, you see?
Well, I see that there are different letters for different purposes, and I think I know the purpose of mine. It's a thank you letter for a visit.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, that's what I tried to write, but it's not very good.
On notebook paper. And torn out. Written in pencil. Hey, you'll want it neater than that. And you better check that spelling, too.
Read it, please.
Okay. Let's see. Dear Uncle Ross and Aunt Helen, I hope you are all well. I want to thank you for having Walter and me for the gorgeous visit. We had a good time. Can you imagine what they think if they read such a letter?
Ross, I do hope Nora really enjoyed her visit here.
Oh, I hope so. Pretty hard to tell from her letter.
I told you it was an awful letter.
Well, what do you want Aunt Helen and Uncle Ross to think? I mean, how do you want them to feel after they read your letter?
Well, I want them to feel pleased. After all, that's the whole purpose in writing the letter, to make them glad that they invited me.
Why don't you try again now?
All right. May I borrow some of your white paper?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to use pen and ink.
Now try to imagine what you want your letter to look like. Look at the page. See what should go on it. First, you'll want your address and the date, of course. Then the salutation. And the main part of the letter. And finally, the complimentary close and your signature. You'll want even margins. And you'll want the page well aligned. Now, you got the idea?
Yes, I think so. First, my address and the date. And then the salutation, Dear Aunt Helen and Uncle Ross. How's that going to be?
Seems like a good start. Now, what are you going to say?
Well, I want to say thank you. And I want to say it in a way that will please Aunt Helen and Uncle Ross.
What would you say if you were there, in person?
Now, let's see. I guess I'd say, it was simply grand of you, Aunt Helen, to have me for a visit. I always have the most marvelous time at your house. Well, that doesn't sound much like a letter.
Maybe it's not supposed to. Maybe it should sound like you.
Well, shall I write that much?
Why not?
I'll use scratch paper until I'm sure just what I'm going to say.
Hey, how about mentioning something that happened to us while we were there?
The time they let us ride the horses. Wasn't it fun? But, well, how will I say it? You did so many nice things for us.
Oh, my.
I'll never forget riding the horses. My, it was exciting and so much fun. Why, this is going to be easy. I'll have a letter done in no time.
And I'll start on the letter to Jimmy and Alice.
There. I think that's a good thank you note. Do you want to hear it?
All right. Just a minute. The page certainly looks neat. Hey, that's good. And while you read it, why don't you try to imagine how Aunt Helen and Uncle Ross will react to the letter?
All right. Dear Aunt Helen and Uncle Ross, thank you so much for letting me visit you. I always have a wonderful time at your house, and so does Walter. You did so many lovely things for us. I'll never forget riding the horses. My, it was exciting and so much fun. But most of all, I think I enjoyed just being at your house and being your guest. So I do mean it when I say thank you. Affectionately, Nora.
You know, Nora, that's not bad at all. With a little practice, you'll be a whiz at writing letters.
Thanks, Walter. You know, writing letters is just a talent. Some people are born with it, some aren't.
I'm glad you appreciated my help.
Seriously, though, you're writing a letter to Jimmy and Alice. Can't it be from both of us?
Gee,
Well, there are lots of things I'd like to say to them. I'd like to tell them about our visit, and I'd like to give them some news, too.
Well, all right. We might as well write it together. Here, you can write some now.
Oh, good. You know, I think writing letters is going to be a lot of fun.